Welcome back. In our last video, we tried to sell you on the idea that instructional coaching could be a big driver in teacher improvement. We also drew some distinctions between good coaching, the kind of coaching that just makes everyone feel good and validated and supported, versus effective teacher coaching that actually drives changes in teacher behavior. We boiled down a few big elements of effective teacher coaching that we put into a teacher coaching formula. Here it is again. We think teacher change as generated by coaching is a function of the clarity of the coach's vision, the quality of the feedback that the coach delivers, and the mindset of the teacher who's on the receiving end of the coaching. Now, this is going to take a bit of explaining, and we're excited to dive into that right now. So take out your pens, get ready to take some notes, and let's get started first on the clarity of the instructional vision. By clarity of instructional vision, we mean that both the coach and the teacher that they're coaching should have a shared idea of what a high-functioning classroom looks like at any given moment of instruction. Importantly, we believe that that vision should be student-facing. That is, the picture should be of what the students should be saying, doing, and thinking at any given moment of the class. We here at Match have thought a lot about what that vision should look like, and we've tried to capture it in a detailed rubric, which we're excited to share with you during week 3. But here it is in a nutshell. Students are on task, paying attention, and working hard throughout the lesson. They feel like the teacher notices their behavior, so if they do slip off task for a moment, they're able to be redirected without much fuss or complaining. The students also feel like the objective of the lesson is really clear to them, and it's rigorous too. It's something that's difficult, yet still attainable for the given class period. They also know that the activities of the class are aligned with that objective. They're helping them achieve the ultimate goal of the lesson, and they feel like they're getting tons of opportunities to practice and receive feedback from their teachers, so they know where they are at any given moment, and they know how far they have to go to master the goal of the class. Now, that's our instructional vision, but visions don't always align. In fact, it reminds us of one of our favorite movies. Well, actually, it's one of my favorite movies. It's a basketball movie, and I'm a basketball coach. Right here, Ross. Good pass. I'll give you a little feedback on that later. It's a basketball movie called Hoosiers, about a small town in Indiana in the 1950s that's really passionate about its high school basketball team. The central tension of the movie is that the team gets a new coach. He's played by Gene Hackman. And Gene Hackman has a very different vision for his basketball team than the town does or that the players do. And what Gene Hackman believes is that his team should focus first and foremost on good defense, and on offense, they should focus on patience, spacing the floor, throwing lots of passes. But the town and the players, they love their shooting. They just want to see the ball fly and see lots of points go up on the board. So when Gene Hackman starts practices, that's when things start to fall apart. In his first practices, he doesn't even use a basketball, and that's really confusing to his players. And then when he does introduce the basketball, he says, you have to pass 4 times before you're allowed to shoot. Needless to say, things don't go very well from the start. Now, there are lots of different philosophies for how to run a basketball team, just like there are lots of different philosophies for what excellent instruction looks like. It's not that the previous coach in Hoosiers was wrong, that he had the wrong philosophy. It's just that it was very different from Gene Hackman's. And until Gene Hackman was able to get his players to buy into his approach, they couldn't win any basketball games. But once he did, once he was able to get his team on the same page, all of a sudden his practices and feedback made sense, and lo and behold, he was building an excellent basketball team. The moral of this story is not that you need a particular philosophy, it's that you need a shared approach with the teacher that you're coaching. An aligned instructional vision is a necessary prerequisite to an effective teacher-coaching relationship. Now, on to our next variable, quality of feedback. By this we mean what actually happens inside of a coaching session. Do you remember Mr. Good Coach's session with Miss McRookie? Well, there's a lot that we would change about that. Everything from the way he focused on too many different areas, the lack of priorities, the fact that he didn't return to any previous feedback to hold her accountable for her implementation, and he also didn't give her any opportunities to practice the feedback that he was giving to her. So in week 4, we'll focus very specifically on how we want you to manage the agenda of a coaching session. The important point here is that coaching, while it's a reflective and collaborative endeavor, it's ultimately directive. A coach is saying to a teacher, here's what I want you to change, here's how we're going to work together to make that change, and here's how I'm going to hold you accountable to actually make sure that it happens. Now to our final variable, the fixed mindset tax. Fixed mindset is not our term. It was actually something coined by Carol Dweck, who wrote a fantastic book called Mindset, which we highly recommend. The idea of a fixed mindset is that with respect to a given task, a person feels like their abilities and skills are innate, that they can't really get better. On the other end of the spectrum is someone with a growth mindset. They believe that with enough effort and practice, they could always improve. Now, while people might fall on either end of the mindset spectrum overall, mindset actually tends to change depending on the task. That is, you might be really growth mindset about your ability to improve at one thing, while pretty fixed mindset about your ability to improve at something else. Let's take our trusty TA, Ross, again. Ross has what I would describe as tremendous growth mindset about his ability to do crossword puzzles. Some months ago, he decided, I'm going to do the New York Times crossword puzzle every single day. In fact, he does it so much that I sometimes wish he'd be a little bit more focused on this MOOC, but that's another story. At any rate, Ross keeps a spreadsheet every day, this really complicated, color-coded spreadsheet that tracks his progress at crossword puzzles, and actually that stream of data has really helped him be growth mindset, and he's seen great improvement over time at his ability to finish the crossword puzzle. Now take another task, like folding laundry. Well, Ross is pretty fixed mindset about that one. He's been bad at it for decades, and with that attitude, I don't think he's going to get any better. Now, a teacher with growth mindset really believes that they can improve. They walk into a coaching session believing that with your help, their own effort, and practice over time, they're going to get better. They can make the changes that you want to see. But we call this fixed mindset tax for a reason. Go back to the formula for a second. So even if you come in with a very clear instructional vision and you structure a high quality feedback session, a teacher who doesn't believe they can improve, who doesn't believe they're capable of making those changes, they're not going to get better. Improvement is going to be slow at best. So that's it for week 1. We explored some big ideas for what we believe makes for effective teacher coaching. In the subsequent weeks, we're going to examine each of these 3 variables in greater depth, starting next week with the fixed mindset tax. What is the fixed mindset tax? What does it look like? And how can you change it? Stick around.